Hi, my name's Rachel Andrews. Welcome to Everyday Athlete. On this week's video, I thought we'd take a look at headwear, that is for before, during and after the swim.
So when were you a member?
Hiya. Hey. Are they biting?
Not really.
So I brought you to Southampton Water today. We're dead opposite Southampton Docks because actually we are on a little beach that is swimmable, and it's fascinating to see these big boats behind. Sadly on this video I'm not going to be swimming, but you'll see a few little outtakes which I think you might enjoy as we move along. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about headgear. You might have heard people say that we lose most of our heat through our head. That's now completely disproven and was based on some experiments that went on within the American military back in the 50s. Now we know that actually from your head you lose about 10% of your body heat. However, 10% is still quite a lot, isn't it? I'm always mindful to look after my head, and not only for thermal reasons. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll know I have a fairly decent array of bobble hats and beanies. That's because I love them. I like the different colours and the styles, and also the different properties each one has. They're all very special to me. But I thought we'd talk through what makes a good pre and post swim hat. In the warmer months, it's more about drying off my hair and keeping my hair out my face as it dries in the wind. So I would go for something like this, a lightweight one that doesn't have a thermal inner, just really to keep my hair under control and to keep the wind off a little bit. As it gets a bit cooler, I like to find ones that have got some kind of fleecy lining or some kind of warm lining in there. So if you can see on this one, it's only got a lining just around the forehead and around my ears, but I find that's plenty to keep the chill off. And then when it gets really chilly, I want to go on with one that's got a full thickness liner all the way through it. Just really helps. Now, you could get away without wearing a hat at all, but I find that it's just really nice and comfortable, and I like the feeling on my head as well as keeping my hair under control. Not that I've got a lot of it, but it doesn't have to bug me if it gets in my eyes. For me, the role of the bobble hat or beanie is before and after swimming. I tend not to wear one in the water, primarily because I don't know if I'm going to get splashed, and I don't think these work very well if they get wet. I mean, they maybe provide a little bit of thermal comfort, but yeah, there's better options out there. Once I'm in the water, I pretty much wear a silicone hat all the time. There's a number of reasons for that. Mostly that I swim in the sea a lot, and I want to make sure that I'm visible to all other water users, whether that be paddleboarders, people on personal watercraft, or people in boats. And I certainly want to make sure that I'm visible from the shore as well. So a brightly coloured one is great. I've recently heard the brighter the better in terms of neon, so as well going with a neon orange or that neon limey green. I quite fancy one of those. I'm going to be looking out for one. I haven't seen them yet, I don't think. If you know where I can get one, pop it in the comments below, will you? But as it happens, I've got lots of these different ones. They're often given out on events. If not, they're pretty cheap to get hold of at any sports shop. Aside from being seen, there's a number of other benefits for using a silicone hat. We've got identification if we are taking part in an event. We've got the fact that it'll keep your hair out of your eyes. It keeps the water from splashing on your head, although it doesn't keep your head dry. These things are waterproof from a downward splash, but certainly not, it seeps in through the corners. So don't be thinking that by popping one of these on, your hair's going to stay dry, because that's not the case. And actually, if you've seen the efforts I take to put on one of these, you'll notice that I've got hair sticking out all over the place. I'm no supermodel at putting on a swim cap. Another bonus of a silicone cap is that it protects your forehead from wind and sunburn. I mean, it's not going to stop you from getting that line, so you might want to grow yourself a fringe if you're bothered about that. And it's obviously not going to protect your cheeks, but it does go some way to limiting the exposure of the sun to your forehead. I guess now we'll take a little look at how to put one on, because that in itself can be a bit of a fight and a game. I'm going to do my best for you. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of methods of doing this, and I'm going to show you one right here, and I'm also going to show you a bit of fun that I had with one earlier in the year when it was a little bit warmer, and that method might work a bit better. So, 2 hands inside it, open it up, forehead first. Let's go again. So, put my hands inside, going to keep my thumbs out this time, onto my forehead, over. Then I can tuck in any hairs. I mean, I've got the benefit here of looking into the camera, but normally I just have a feel around. Doesn't seem to be any, then I'm fine with it. When I go to take it off, that can be the bit where it feels like it's tearing your hair out. I tend to take hold of the back and curl it up, and then just roll it off my head, and it's not as painful that way. And here's one way to put on a hat. People make this look so easy. No. Well, what a great method for putting your hat on. You just need a paddleboarder and a lot of time. In the winter, this is my friend. This is a DHB one, but all sorts of different makers make these things. It's my Neoprene Cap, and I know I look an absolute chump with it on, but blimey, just having that little amount of neoprene between my head and the water makes all the difference. I do also wear some earplugs to help out with keeping the cold out, especially if I'm swimming front crawl. So I pop this on. It's a bit damp from earlier, so I don't fancy doing it just now. And then on top of it, I will then put on a silicone hat, because this one in itself, although it's got these little dots here, is not very visible in the water. And I want to make sure at all times when I'm in there that somebody can see me. Great little investment. They're not very expensive, and I would say the tighter the better on your head. Even if you do feel a bit of an idiot when you try it on at home and everyone in your house laughs. It could well be that you'd really love a neoprene hat, but you just don't have one. Well, not to worry, you can always put on one of these and then another one directly on top of it, and that will give you quite a bit more warmth. You'd be surprised how much insulation you get from that. Another option for keeping your head nice and warm and keeping the water off it, but also looking cool, is either to get one that's got a nice design on it, or possibly to cheat and pop your bobble hat on the top. That way, even if the bobble hat gets wet, it's not going to affect your head getting too cold. The key thing is when you get out that you've got a dry bobble hat to put on afterwards. I hope you found this week's video interesting, and I'd love to know your hat stories and what you recommend for keeping your little noggin warm. Drop us a comment. I love to read them. I also like to know where people are in the world as they're commenting to me. If you've enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing by clicking on my face and dinging the little bell to see when the next one's out. And I just want to say happy festive greetings. I hope you get some peaceful time off. Bye. It's a bit dangerous. Ooh.